Tonight's video is video 2.1 in its history of evolution theories. You are expected to watch this video for class on Thursday, which would be September 10th, and so that is Thursday. I have an activity I want you to do before you start watching the full video, and that's to complete the vocabulary section of the reading guide or note guide. And so, with that being said, here are my expectations for vocabulary rating. For every term that's on there, I'm asking you tonight to do your pre-rating and a definition in your own words. Okay, I'll go over the pre-rating scale here in a second, but when I ask for a definition in your own words, you are allowed to write the definition if it makes sense to you from the internet or a book, but if it doesn't and there are words that you don't understand, please look them up, all right, or paraphrase what the definition's asking. Now for the rating, a 1 is I've never heard the word or term before. A 2 is I have heard the word but don't know what the word means. A 3 is I have a pretty good understanding of the word, and then a 4 is I can teach the word to another individual. So at this point, please pause the video and complete your vocabulary rating. Continuing with tonight's video, our learning targets for tonight are I can provide an example of Darwin's theory of natural selection, and I can explain why Jean-Baptiste Lamarck was incorrect with his theory on inheritance of acquired characteristics. Before we get into the modern theories on evolution, I'm going to start us off with a portion that isn't scientific, but often gets mixed up with the scientific theories on how life began or evolved on Earth, and that's this idea of creationism. Creation myths and beliefs have been around for thousands of years at this point. We have modern creation theories that come from, Buddhist, Islamic, Christianity, Judaism, Hindu. All of them have a theory on how life on Earth began and how the universe began. And this isn't about that idea. But we also have theories that are no longer really supported that are also creationism. And one of those is the Greek myths of Kratos and the Titans and how they formed the Earth and the universe, and the Greek gods, including Zeus. And that's in the upper left-hand corner. In the upper right-hand corner, we do have a take on the Christian version of the creationism, and that's the idea that all life exists at the same time. So, Jesus and a dinosaur existed at the same time. In the lower left-hand corner, I have an incorrect theory on evolution, and that's the idea that we evolved from chimpanzees. So it shows this gradual change from a chimpanzee to a man. Although there is some belief to this, what's incorrect is that what we really mean is at some point we had a common ancestor with chimpanzees. So you're not necessarily going to see these in between evolutions of man, and you're not going to find them. So moving forward, in the 1700s, Jean-Baptiste Lamarck was really a central figure to science, and he came up with this idea of inheritance of acquired characteristics. And so his belief was that if an organism acquired a characteristic over its lifetime, that would be passed on to its offspring. So these would be able to pass on acquired traits. So there is several tribes of Indo-Asian populations that the women put bands around their necks to stretch out their necks. And so Lamarck would believe that these women would pass on these long necks to their children, and we know that's not true. And the other picture on here is that of a giraffe, and as the giraffe reaches for more food, it stretches its neck and passes on that longer neck to its offspring, which is also not true. So along comes Thomas Malthus, at the end of the 1700s, and he writes an essay on the principle of population in Britain. And his theory on this is that populations are growing faster than food sources and resources, and at some point that the entire system was going to crash. And so this was really a essay about economics for England to support its growing population and his concern. So what this essay did was it prompted England to perform a census on the population of England, Wales, and Scotland in 1801, and we continue to collect such census data every 10 years. And this essay really had a profound impact on Charles Darwin, who came up with his theory of natural selection. So Charles Darwin in 1831 sets out to South America on the HMS Beagle. And the Beagle's mission was to map and explore South America. And so as the ship traveled south to South America and explored and mapped, Darwin was collecting samples of plants, insects, and animal life. And it was at the Galapagos Islands that his theory on natural selection really took shape. So here I have a picture of the Galapagos Islands and South America. And so there's 600 miles different spread between the islands themselves and South America. So the theory that Darwin proposes is that a species of finch flew over from South America to the Galapagos, 600 miles, and from that we now have 13 different species of finch. And so his theory was actually correct. Modern science has helped support the evidence that he collected. And so Darwin was looking at other species besides just the finches, but the finches really gave him the clue of natural selection. So Charles Darwin here has his 13 finches, and we only have a few of them pictured here, but he sorted them based on what they ate, what their bills were shaped like, okay, or their beaks, and then where they lived, okay. So Charles Darwin returns to England, but he doesn't write his theory up on natural selection. In fact, it's not until 1858 when Alfred Russel Wallace from Indonesia sends Darwin his essay on natural selection that Darwin decides to publish. And so in 1858, Darwin publishes his theory on natural selection, and Wallace and him present their theory to the scientific community. Most people remember Darwin, but Wallace also came to the same conclusions that Darwin did. And so this is how we've come to modern evolution. And since then, we have tools now that allow us to further support this idea of evolution, and that is through the use of genetic testing. So with that being said, please watch the video, complete the note guide. As a reminder, you can watch it online and complete your note guide online through Google Classroom, and be ready to talk about it on Thursday. Thanks for watching.